Well, hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays, and today we are continuing with my film journey for the year. I've been doing this for 20 plus weeks now, which is kind of insane. I started off as a little journal where I've been writing down all the things that I've been watching and a lot of the things that I've been picking up. And I've done that ever since I've been back from England, which was my second trip that happened in the summer, and it was a blast, and I needed that reset, and also to see my friends and get some more physical media, right? But besides that, today I want to talk about a couple of things that have been going on during the week. There's been a lot of stuff outside of movies that I have been doing. So I have a haul to show you. I got some things in the mail that I'm excited to showcase and showcase to you, some folk horror stuff, and then also talk about some of the films that I've watched for the week, which hasn't been too much, to be honest, because a lot of life stuff is happening right now. New car, we have some work holiday stuff, friends and family, lots of stuff going on. So been very, very busy. So, but in a good way, things are going well. So ending 2024 in a very, very positive note, and I'm very excited and very happy about that. But before we jump into the titles that I picked up and the titles that I've watched for the week, I would love to know what you've been doing kind of near this end of the December holiday. It's kind of crazy how quick 2024 has went, and there's been a lot of stuff going on, and I'm sure you're queuing up either your end of year lists or you're watching holiday movies. I would love to know in the comment section down below what you've been doing. So yeah, I will see you over in the other area where we're going to be talking about the haul that I picked up for the week. Like I said before, it has been an insane week, but I did get some stuff in the mail. We'll talk about the movies that I watched here in a second, which here's a preview of the stuff that I watched during the week, which I've not really had much time to watch a lot of stuff, but we'll get to that. But I did get a few things in the mail, last minute shopping holiday stuff that I am really, really stoked to showcase here. One of them is a 4K of a film that I love and adore. In fact, I actually showed the counterpart to this earlier. And then there's a couple of other folk horror stuff that I got, because I'm still in the folk horror mood, even though I'm still in the middle of that All the Haunts Be Ours Volume 2 box set. So speaking of folk horror, let's get the first title out of the way. Blood on Satan's Claw. This is one of the essential films, like The Wicker Man, and like the other film that I showed last week, Witchfinder General, which is another folk horror staple. These are like the tentpole movies. So I finally have all of them on 4K. So 88 films, put this out alongside Witchfinder General. I missed out on the slipcovers. That's fine with me. But I'm going to keep my old Blood on Satan's Claw because I think there are a couple of things that are extras on there. There's like a commentary from the guys who did Inside Number 9, which I've been told, shout out to my buddy Davey for telling me that. But I'm very, very excited about this, and so I'm very excited to watch this again in 4K and see the restoration here. 88 Films does really great work, so I'm excited for it. It's the 4K restoration from the original camera negative, so this is going to be really, really fun. And yeah, just a classic film. If you haven't seen this, this is, one of the best folk horror tales out there. So speaking of horror, I actually got a bundle from Diabolique DVD. I actually pre-ordered some of these titles. There's actually two from Deaf Crocodile, which is a great label that I don't really hear too many people talk about, but they're putting out a lot of great content. And then there's another one from Radiance Films, which I'll start with that one first. Let's talk about Die Gothic. I think that's how I say it, but this is the Japanese box set from Radiance that came out. This is spine number 74, 75, and 76. Now, my friend Daniel over at Cobwebs, he actually did a little video on this, and he was telling me a lot about this, and I actually am a huge fan of a lot of Japanese horror stories. In fact, I just watched one of them in the All the Haunts Be Ours box set a couple weeks back. But besides that, I'm a huge fan of Kuroneko and Kawaiden, which I heard one of the movies in this particular box set is a lot like Kawaiden. It's based on the same exact story, and that is the Snow Woman, which is the second film in here. So I'll actually just tell you what's in here. Besides that, there's the Ghost of Yotsuya, and there's the Snow Woman, and there is the Bride from Hades. So let's just open this bad boy. I'll open it up on camera with you guys. So I'm excited to have this. Radiance has always been really, really a great, I actually have them all up here. A great label that I really, really love. I love that they have the Obi strips that I usually collect. I usually have them within the box set itself. But yeah, you can tell based on that. There's just, the presentation is just really, really well done. Comes with a booklet that will obviously hold a lot of the essays about the films themselves. But yeah, these are some classic Japanese, ghost stories. So that's a lot of what this particular set kind of goes about looking at. So here's The Bride from Hades, which looks kind of batshit, which really looks like fun. The Snow Woman, which I had mentioned earlier, a lot like Kawaii-den, at least one of the tales in Kawaii-den. And then there is The Ghost of Yatsuya. So I'm excited about that one as well. Kenji Masumi, and then we also have Satsuo Yamamoto and Tokuzo Tanaka, which I'm probably mispronouncing all these, but I'm excited to jump into this. Obviously, I'm still in a folk horror mood. I'm also in a Christmas mood right now, so I'll be doing that, but some really cool and spooky stuff going on in here. But yeah, Haunting of Japan. This looks like a really cool box set. I know there are some B movies in here, but overall, I'm excited about it. I know there's some mixed things in terms of some of the movies in here, but this is going to be an incredible set, and I'm excited to check it out. So yep, I got this Die Gothic set from Radiance. Next, I have 2 films from Deaf Crocodile, which I'm excited to show you next. So now we're going to the 2 titles from Deaf Crocodile, and 2 of them are folk horror tales, and one is actually from the writer of Blood on Satan's Claw, which is really cool. It is The Outcasts, which looks like quite a weird, crazy 1982 film from, early. This is 95 minutes, so it's not that long. Rediscovery of folklore, fantasy, and folk horror. Long lost Irish film, The Outcasts. So, yeah, like I said, Robert Wayne Simmons, who wrote Blood on Satan's Claw, he directed and I guess worked on this, and he also wrote it as well. You know what's really cool about this is one of the coolest thing here is it has my buddy Ryan Verrill from The Disconnected. I love to see your name on these things. So, fun fact, video essay by Rod Stoneman, former head of the Irish Film Board, and journalist and physical media expert Ryan Verrill. One of my best friends. He lives up in Kansas City. I love seeing him. So that's really, really cool. I love how much work you're putting into the effort with Deaf Crocodile and all the other releases that I'm sure are on their way. And you are a hard worker, and I love you for that. And I can't wait for a little annual, maybe an award show that's coming up soon. But I'll plug that later. But yes, The Outcast. This looks like a really fun Irish tale. So excited to have this now. And again, shout out to my buddy Ryan. Next, we have another folk horror tale, one that I actually caught my eye based on a trailer. I remember watching the trailer to this and would be like, yeah, this looks trippy as all hell, and something that is right up my alley. It is The Savage Hunt of King Strock, I think is how you say it. First of all, wild art. I love that artwork. I actually didn't open up The Outcasts, but so yeah, just to kind of showcase what these box sets are. They're just like normal boxes, hardcover boxes with the films themselves, and it looks like a book, an essay book. But this actually has some video essay with Evan Chester and an introduction from Kayla Janice, who is I'm a big fan of her and her work for all her stuff that she does with All the Haunts Be Ours. Comes with this strip for the film themselves, so it just holds that on there. Yeah, this artwork is just absolutely stunning. It looks quite intense in the best way possible. But yeah, I'm excited to jump into this book right here and this movie, in particular the movie. But yeah, this is a 1960s Gothic, or 1980s Gothic film. It mixes a couple of things together. I'm seeing it's a mixture of Terry Gilliam from Monty Python. We have Italian Gothic horror and some 1960s Hammer films, which, up there, I'm a huge Hammer fan. So, yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. And I know that the images in here alone will probably get you to be like, okay, this is an interesting looking film. So that's what I'm mostly concerned about, is just how wild this tale looks. And I don't know. It just looks like a gorgeous film. So I'm excited to finally have this. And then also, yeah, just in general to have more Deaf Crocodile stuff. So, impressed with the label and impressed with the stuff that I picked up for, my last haul, for one of the last hauls of the year. So I hope you enjoyed this little haul. Let's jump back over to the other closet and talk about these films right here. All right, so as you probably saw it on the side over there, the films that I watched 4 actually. There's 3 that I showcased on that shelf. And there's another one that I watched in theaters. In fact, two of the movies I actually watched in theaters, and I'm excited to talk about them. But first, I know I had just mentioned this last time, but I want to talk about Ferris Bueller's Day Off because I actually finally watched this. In fact, I said I was planning on watching it, and I actually did. Not shortly after I had made that video, I had been yearning to go back to Chicago, because Chicago, I just adore that city. Every single time I go there, I learn something new about the city itself, and also just more about myself, honestly, and how much, walking around and exploring all these places with incredible food, incredible art, and just a hangout type of vibe that you get when you go to Chicago. There's a lot of stuff going on, but luckily I was there just to not do anything, I guess. And so that's why this movie fit perfectly for my time over there. So I was just enamored by that idea, and I'm like, well, this movie's set in Chicago, so let's watch this movie again. And what a blast it was. It was just a perfect movie to come back from that holiday and really just kind of unwind myself and just see Ferris and his friends just pretty much just goof around all day. And I don't even know how the I guess analytics of how they got across town left and right and doing all these different things, being in a parade, reversing the mileage on a car. Like, there's just so many things in this movie that are just so much fun to just see, and the hijinks that they do is something that it brings you back to your youth a little bit. I didn't do some of these things, but I did some of these things as well. So regardless, this movie right here, 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. It's one that's increasingly meaning a little bit more to me now. But like I said, it's a movie that I'm sure you've already seen, so I don't want to explain too much about it. It literally is in the title itself if you've not seen this movie. It's a really great hangout movie. It's a movie you can just unwind and kick your shoes off and just kick back and just enjoy a day off yourself. The next movie we're talking about is one that I watched in theaters at the Alamo Drafthouse, and it was an early morning showing / afternoon, and it was adorable. But also at the same time, it was incredibly pulling on your heartstrings, but in like a very animalistic type of way. When I say animalistic, it is the movie Flo. And Flo is about a cat who is in this post-apocalyptic world where, it's kind of living on its own. You can definitely tell that there has been monuments or buildings, statues of sorts in the past that have existed. But this giant storm comes in where this wave is coming down, where it's starting to flood the whole entire area. And so this cat is pretty much forced its way out of its home, and it has to go on this adventure, just trying to survive, honestly. And it comes across so many different animals. It actually lands in a boat with a capybara. It runs into a heron multiple times. I believe it's a heron. It also runs into a lemur who is loves to collect things and very much reminds me of me. But I love the dynamics between these animals because they act like normal animals, right? Where they're skittish and they act like themselves. But at the same time, you can tell that they kind of work together and cooperate eventually to survive this tragedy, I guess, of this old world dying and this new world coming, I guess, unraveling into this giant ocean, I suppose. But it is just a vividly beautiful film. This animation style is really, really great. It reminds me a little bit of some Studio Ghibli type of work, but very much its own thing. And it actually has a flow to it. I suppose that's probably a lack of a better term. But its animation style is kind of 3D in a way that it really does interact greatly with movement, right? And the movement is very, very present within the movie. And like I said, it pulls on your heartstrings. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of, there's no words at all in this film. So it is a very visual feast of a film. And I highly, highly recommend checking it out. I definitely recommend watching it in the theater because of that animation style is just really, really cool and something that I highly, highly recommend. I'd give this movie a 4 out of 5. It really was that special and just, one of the better animated films of the year. So definitely check out Flo. Next, we're going to talk about a movie that I actually also watched in theaters. In fact, I have it right here. It's Nas Feratu from 1922, but I watched this at my local independent Moxie, which is a local art house theater that I have here in town. I watched it with my old roommate. We actually watched this movie alongside a synced symphony of 2 albums from Radiohead, Amnesiac and Kid A. they put this and mashed it together with Nas Feratu. So this is a silent picture, obviously, but there's various scores that go along with this. But when you mute that score and you put in Radiohead, Amnesiac, and Kid A, it's kind of this weird, like just trippy, but also almost reimagining of watching a film like this, because Nosferatu, it's very much on a lot of people's minds right now, because the new film that's about to come out on Christmas from Robert Eggers is one of my most highly anticipated films of the year. In fact, probably will be my movie of the year. Haven't even seen it yet, but I've already have decided probably. But this movie, reimagining watching this silent picture, this classic film in this different way with Radiohead, was just really, really cool. It kind of reminds me of watching Metropolis and listening to Cult of Luna, which is a band that I really like. I know there's a Giorgio edition, and in fact, my friend KB got me that edition. Still haven't seen it yet, which is a shame, but I'm really excited to kind of watch more silent pictures queued up with like some contemporary music. I just thought this was like one of the coolest experiences that I've ever had in a theater, and something that like is a very vivid memory of mine. Obviously, it's very fresh, but at the same time, I probably will want to do this again on my own with those two albums from Radiohead, which Radiohead, one of the best English prog rock bands of all time. Yeah, Nosferatu is one of the greatest classic silent pictures of all time. So mash those together and you get a masterpiece. It was really fun, and I highly recommend doing it yourself. If you're near a local cinema, I highly recommend checking that out, a local independent cinema that might be playing near you, because there's some silent synced things going on. So yeah, definitely check that out if you get yourself a chance to. And the last movie I want to talk about is one that I just watched last night. It is from Fun City Edition. I've had this on my shelf for some time, and I didn't really know what I wanted to watch, but I wanted to watch something fun, so I watched the CocaCola Kid. And this movie is an Australian film from the mid-'80s, and in fact, I love this edition right here. This is just such a cool looking slipcover. As Fun City Edition, who teamed up with Vinegar Syndrome, always puts out really cool stuff. But this is a comedy romance of sorts. This movie doesn't know what it wants to be honest. But this movie here is a very interesting Australian film, and one where there's this guy from the US who comes over as a Coca-Cola representative in an Australian outback, and he is tasked there to kind of change their marketing up a little bit. He falls in love with a woman there who's a little eccentric and kind of crazy, but in the best way possible. And also there's just a lot of weird debauchery going on in between all of the scenes, which makes it a little bit confusing. I will say this movie definitely goes all over the place. It has a lot of 80s tropes to it, with some really good musical numbers and some really fun kind of dialogue and some really laid back comedy like qualities to it. But at the same time, I think it just meanders and goes in a lot of different directions, despite it being this colorful, pretty product, which is Coca-Cola, which at the very beginning of the film, it also mentions in this like screen that's like, hey, this is dedicated to Coca-Cola, but also at the same time, this is a product. And so it has that capitalistic kind of tendency to it, but it really is a fun film. It's not one to write home about, but it's definitely one worth checking out. I wouldn't necessarily say buy the whole thing. I'd say if you get yourself a chance to watch this movie, it's definitely a good time. It's definitely like a 3 out of 5, I would say, maybe a 3.5 on a good day. But yeah, it's just a good, fun, laid back movie to watch. But the Coca-Cola Kid, I'll be watching some extras here because I know this has a lot on it. But yeah, love the design of it, and yeah, it's just a fun 80s film. So the Coca-Cola Kid, definitely check it out if you get yourself a chance. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Christmas is right around the corner, so there's, I'm sure, some things that I'll be doing. I'll probably be watching Lord of the Rings, which is one of my favorite things to do around this time period, and just kind of get some, cozy memories going on. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section down below what you plan on doing for Christmas, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. So like, comment, share, hit the notification bell, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.